Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
Currently playing in select cities across the country, but it will be released nationally in theaters on June 6th. Veterans themselves and volunteers taking some time tonight to honor their fallen comrades. They placed flags on the graves at the Williamson Memorial Gardens. All of the volunteers were members of the VFW or Elks. Those at the event said it's an important part of Memorial Day.
The people deserve our respect, and the living veterans, I think they appreciate it too. It's good for them to see that we're remembering their fallen comrades.
This is the second year that the two organizations have combined to put out the flags for Memorial Day.
Your attention, if you all night, I am here to make a Memorial Day presentation to honor our fallen service people throughout the starting of this country and its preservation throughout all its years. There are many thoughts as to the actual beginning of what's now called Memorial Day. There's a great deal of evidence that organized women's groups in the South were decorating graves well before the end of the war between the states. After that, local springtime tributes to the war's dead were held in various places around the country. One of the first occurred in Columbus, Mississippi in April of 1866 when a group of women visited the cemetery to decorate the graves of Confederate soldiers who had fallen in battle at Shiloh. Located nearby were the graves of Union soldiers, neglected, of course, because they were the enemy. But distributed at the site of the bare graves, the women placed some of their flowers on these graves as well. Today, several cities, both the North and the South, claim to be the birthplace of Memorial Day. Both Macon and Columbus, Georgia claim the title, as well as Richmond, Virginia. The village of Boalsburg, Pennsylvania claims it began there, and its stone in Carbondale, Illinois cemetery carries a statement that the first Remembrance Ceremony took place there. Regardless of all these claims, 3 years after the war between the states ended in May 5th, 1868, the head of the Organization of Union Veterans established Decoration Day as for the first of the nation to decorate the graves of the war dead with flowers. It was declared that Decoration Day should be observed on May 30th. It is believed that date was chosen because flowers would be in bloom all over the country. The first large observance was held that year at Arlington National Cemetery. The first state to officially recognize the holiday was New York, and by 1890 it was recognized in all northern states. The South at first refused to acknowledge that date, honoring their dead on a separate day until after World War I, when the holiday changed from honoring just those who died fighting the war between the states to honoring all Americans who have died in any war. Memorial Day is now celebrated in almost every state on the last Monday in May, although at least 9 southern states still have additional separate days honoring their Confederate war dead. At this very moment, halfway around the world, in some of the most desolate places you can ever imagine, Americans are still fighting and dying in the name of freedom. To date, over 5,400 American servicemen and women have died in our global war between terrorism in Afghanistan and Iraq. Whether you personally feel it or not, whether you personally support it or not, our country is at war, and we've asked these folks to carry a very heavy burden for us. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who gave us the freedom of speech. It's the soldier, not the poet, who has given us the freedom of speech. It's the reporter, not the It's the soldier, not the reporter, who gave them the freedom of press. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who gives us the freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves the flag, and whose coffin is draped by that flag, which allows the protester to burn that flag. Yet despite what some think, peace and safety can't be just hoped for. You can't simply just smile, shake hands, bow, make elaborate speeches, and expect the rest of the world to embrace us in this big group hug. Sometimes you have to step up to the plate and sacrifice. And in the world we live in, that sometimes means Americans have to fight, often die, in the name of freedom. That's just the world we live in. We are fortunate to live in the greatest country on earth. There's something special about America. We have something no other nation has to offer, or will ever have to offer. America is good because America is more than just a place. America is an idea. It's an idea lived and fought for by the people. We are America, and this flag is our symbol, the American flag, that we may be imperfect in ways, but continue to strive toward the same ideals our forefathers laid down for us 230 years ago. And despite our problems, we are still the greatest beacon of freedom, charity, hope, and opportunity the world will ever know. Our flag is our history, our dreams, and our accomplishments, and incredibly expressed in beautiful red, white, and blue. Although it had many less stars, it was carried in our Revolutionary War. It preserved and evolved throughout the war. We had no right to believe we could win, but we did, and we built a country around it. United under the flag, this nation is a melting pot of humanity. This free republic must be preserved. The idea that America is important enough to be defended, fought for, and even died for. The enemy fears what we have, for if it were their people, taste of liberty, dictators would cease to exist. We have to continue to rally around the flag in our past, present, and future troops. Never forget those who made us the ultimate sacrifice. Never let your children or your children's children or your children's children forget. For when we cease to remember, we dishonor those who came before us, and we doom those who come after us. America deserves a lot better. I'd like to read a little poem I found on the internet I thought was very nice. He was getting old and paunchy, and his hair was falling fast, and he sat around the Legion telling stories of his past, of that war that he once fought in, and the deeds that he had done, and his exploits with his buddies. They were heroes, every one. And though sometimes his neighbors, his tales become a joke, all his buddies listened quietly, for they knew from where he spoke. But we'll hear his tales no longer, for old Joe has passed away, and the world's a little poor for a soldier who died today. He won't be mourned by many, just his children and his wife, for he lived a very ordinary, a very quiet sort of life. He had a job and raised a family, going quietly on his way, and the world won't note his passing, though a soldier died today. When politicians leave this earth, their bodies lie in state, while thousands note their passing and proclaim that they were great. Papers tell us that their life stories from the time that they were young, but the passing of a soldier most times go unsung. It's the greatest contribution to the welfare of our land, some jerk who breaks his promise and cons his fellow man, or the ordinary fellow who in times of war and strife goes off to serve his country and offers up his life. The politician's stipend and the style in which he lives, they often disproportionate to the service that he gives. When offered up his all, is paid off with a medal and perhaps a pension, small. It is not the politicians with their compromised employees who want us the freedom that our country now enjoys. Should you find yourself in danger with your enemies at hand, would you really want some cop out with his ever-wavering hand? Or would you want a soldier, his home, his country, his kin, or just a common soldier who would fight to the end? He was just a common soldier, and his length were growing thin, but his presence should remain with us. We may need his legs again. For when countries are in conflict, we find the soldier's part. It is to clean up all the troubles that the politicians start. If we cannot do him honor who he's here to praise, then at least give him the homage at his ending days. Perhaps just a simple headline in the news throughout the country. The paper should say, "Our country is in mourning for a soldier died today." Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.